Have you seen that exercise that was going around where, they had men bowing to women, and it was like
Oh,
yeah, so,
sounds
um,
scary.
so it was kind of to quote, like, heal that masculine wound and to make women feel safer, I guess, and to, like, heal that energetically. I had an issue with it because I don't agree with making again, like, the retroactive apology or making yourself small to compensate for someone else's secure sense of security. I think that's more internal, and no one else can kinda give that sense of safety to you. But again, it kinda goes to pitting the sexes against one another. So do you have advice or are you ever in a situation where you're trying to help a man get out of a toxic relationship where like the woman is constantly berating and like doesn't give him space or holds him accountable for things that maybe he didn't do, but like men in general have done in the past?
Yeah, so a lot of the work that I do just focuses on going back to self and what we can control because no matter what, we can't control our partners. We can't control society or what's going on. And it doesn't benefit us to really worry about the trends or what society sees men like as a whole, because there are still pockets of acceptance. There are still pockets of love. And
Mm,
it's up to you to find out where you fit and find out what you actually want to invite into your life. If you're in a toxic relationship, taking on the personal responsibility of what led me to want to be with this person? Like, what attracted me here? What part of my past said, this is a good fit? This is a match. And it's usually some type of insecurity or wound, like you said, the mother wound that, there's an epidemic also of single mothers. And with single motherhood, you have to take on the masculine because you're trying to survive. And
right.
so a lot of men are raised by single mothers, seeing them be independent, seeing them not have to rely on a man, seeing them with that hard energy. So they don't recognize the soft feminine, and while they may have a lot of respect for women, they're looking for that hard masculine. But hard masculine women don't usually know how to embrace their soft feminine. So they're combative all the time, constantly challenging, constantly trying to control, constantly berating them and telling them what's wrong. So it's kind of like this hard dynamic of loving and respecting the mother and wanting to find someone just like mom, but actually finding out that may not actually be a good partner because mom never felt safe.
And that's gotta be so hard to navigate because, again, like, the climate that we're raising girls in right now is to kind of be all things at once. So there's no room for someone else to kinda complement that, or if there is, again, there is this fear, I think you nailed it, there is this fear that if I relinquish any part of my perceived control or dominance that, like, I'm at risk of what maybe it's financial insecurity or me being abandoned or right, like, we have our own stuff that we're dealing with, so to allow that space is really difficult, so finding another healed person just seems impossible right now, especially because we're not meeting in face to face, like everything is on apps. I think one of the main questions I get from a lot of young male viewers is like, where do I meet a woman? Like, where do I go out and romantically meet a woman because the apps aren't for me? I don't know if you have that question a lot or if you have any advice for young male listeners as to like, where do I even look for love?
Well, I think a good place to start is by acknowledging that you're not a victim of like, where do I meet a woman? Like, go outside. Like the thing is, you're operating from a place of fear of like the apps aren't for me and no women want this. Like, okay, well then you're just trapping yourself because you're not trying. And the thing is, we have to be willing to pay the price of rejection in order to get what we want. Because there are women out there who are so conscious and so open and so loving, and they want men to speak to them. But a lot of men are afraid because, like you said, like this whole feminist movement and don't talk to me, and like, oh my God, I was minding my own business. You have to
Yeah.
be willing to pay the price, but you can actually navigate the energy of those people in public when you yourself are open. If you yourself project, I'm in a space to find the right woman for me. I'm a conscious being who's going to align correctly. Then you're going to start going to those places. You're going to start going to retreats. You're going to start going to conferences where maybe these people are more common, more prominent, and you can talk to those people, right? But if you start to go after the people who you always did, maybe, and bars are always such a great example because it's just a place where unconscious people tend to gather the most frequently, right? So going there usually always breeds negative interactions. If you continue to try to get your conscious individual there, it's probably not going to happen. So you have to give yourself the best chance of finding someone, but it's not going to help you by saying, "Oh my god, there's no one out there. It's so hard." It's as hard as it was before. You're just not trying.
Yeah, I don't think men get enough credit because I would be single forever if it was up to me to like initiate some kind of conversation with a total stranger all on my own. I would be really, really terrified of that exchange and then constantly being rejected and then having to deal with people that are maybe a little bit aggressive.